Hey guys, Mitch here with Guy on a Gun, and today we're going to be looking at my EDC Glock 19. But more specifically, we're going to be looking at the Grey Ghost Precision V1 Upper. Alright, so we're just going to start off by unloading. Obviously, I want to stay safe direction, pull the trigger. Cool, we're clear. So the first thing I want to talk about is the looks of this thing. I think it looks fantastic. And I kind of like the minimalist style that they went with. A lot of the Glock slides that I see out there have these crazy window cuts and cuts on the top and all that kind of stuff. And personally, it's just not for me. This slide has everything I need, nothing I don't. So the window cuts up here, while they might look really flashy, and I think they personally look cool, they actually do reduce some of the weight because I've added an RMR back here. So now my weight is pretty much back to what it would be stock. Another thing that I like actually is that they did not add sights for you. This slide, the way it comes, is totally blank. Another thing you should know is that the V1 version comes in two different models. So there is the fully assembled version and then there is the stripped version. I bought the fully assembled version and we'll talk about that in a minute. As far as their function goes, it's identical. I mean, if you buy the stripped version, you can put whatever internals you want in it, as opposed to if you buy it straight from Grey Ghost Precision, you're going to be getting pretty much all stock Glock internals, which personally I wanted because the more factory parts in there, the more reliable it's going to be probably. So I talked about looks a little bit. What about function? Well, the thing functions pretty phenomenally. I haven't had any problems with it so far, other than a recoil spring, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Actually, there was one problem with it. So I did buy the pre-built version from Grey Ghost Precision, and the Grey Ghost Precision version came with, first it came with this cool RMR cover plate, just says Grey Ghost Precision on it, or GGP with the skull. It also came with this Grey Ghost Precision threaded match grade barrel. Nothing about the barrel says it's cheap. Obviously it's threaded, so if you want to put like a compensator or suppressor on there, you can do that. And it also has their name laser etched right here, and then their little skull up on the top. And like I said, as far as the quality goes, I'm not really concerned about that. But I am concerned about, or at least in my experience, the 1 in 16 twist on this guy. Now I shoot white box 124 grain NATO spec ammo for my plinking rounds. This barrel does not like those. My groups went from this big at 15 yards, let's see, yeah, about that big, sorry I'm looking at a target on the wall over there, to about this big at 15 yards, and that's kind of a big difference for me. I like being able to put them all in a hole about this big at 15 yards. For me, that's a big deal. If I could do it all again, I'd probably buy the stripped version, put all Glock internals in it, and then use another different threaded barrel, which is exactly what I did. I have the S3F Solutions barrel in there now, which I think looks pretty sweet. Obviously it's not the titanium nitride, so it's not gold, but it's not really my style anyway. In a minute here, I'm going to bring you up close so you can get better at the looks, and we'll talk a little bit more about the finish and whether it's worth the price or not. Hey guys, here we are at the close-up. Well, the first thing you'll notice is that I've got a box here. Well, this is the box that it comes in. And you'll see that it says Grey Ghost Precision. It'll tell you the model that you got. So this is the complete model with a threaded barrel and an RMR cut. Inside, here's the RMR plate, and then here's my old Glock slide. With the GGP threaded barrel. So the box is pretty dang nice. The cardboard isn't kind of like that cheap crap that sometimes you get on like guns. It's nice foam on the inside, and then there's 2 more screws in there for the RMR. Sorry, get this Trijicon sticker out of the way here. Here you can see the difference between the two slides. Obviously this is the standard Glock factory slide, with the exception of the barrel here, and this is the Grey Ghost Precision one. So move this out of the way now. And so as far as things that I like about it, obviously I said the looks, and you guys can probably see a little bit better now. I think it looks fantastic. It's got a black nitrided coating on the inside and out, and actually I think if I angle it just the way, you can actually see that there's a little bit of holster wear. It's too bright. Right in this area here, which is, you know, I mean, that happens. You carry the gun and it gets wear. I kind of personally like it that way though. So let me flip it over here for you really quick so you can see the other side. On this side you can see it says Grey Ghost Precision right along here. Personally, I don't really mind that. It's really subtle, and honestly, I don't even think about it. If it were like had a white lettering or something, it'd probably be a little bit much for me, but I like how simple they kept it. Go ahead and clear. Yep, still clear from earlier. Disassemble. There we go. Set this to the side for now. And here's the slide itself. Set this one here also just for comparison. You can see dimensionally, obviously it's identical. So this is what it looks like overall. Hopefully you guys can kind of see down there. Here's the inside. So that black nitride finish goes all the way to the inside here. And I have to say, it's really nicely done. I am a little disappointed that it's wearing so quickly. I've only had this for a couple months, and definitely in the right lighting, you can tell that there's wear there. Not that it's a huge deal, but it is interesting to see how quickly it wore. You can see on this burnt bronze factory slide here, there's a little bit of wear on the tip there, but for the most part, it's fairly clean. It's just kind of interesting. Also, holding these side by side, despite not having an RMR or a compensator, you can tell that this is either identical in weight or maybe even slightly lighter, despite having all that extra stuff. So these lightning cuts in the front, like I said before, while they are, pretty to look at, they are also kind of functional. I mentioned earlier that the gun did have one other problem besides the barrel. And let me just remind you that the barrel just doesn't like my particular ammo. It doesn't shoot well with it. I think the slow 1 in 16 twist rate is not conducive for lighter ammo. Maybe if you were running super heavy stuff, it would be. But in this case, for me, the 124 grain stuff just doesn't cycle super well in it. Speaking of cycling, the other problem I had was with the recoil spring. And now I should mention this has nothing to do with the Grey Ghost Precision slide. This has to do with the Texas Black Rifle Company compensator that I have on the front here. And so they even say on their website, you're probably gonna have to mess around with some springs and all that kind of stuff to get it to cycle properly. So I actually reached out to Grey Ghost Precision, who told me that they suggest a 15-pound spring. Seems like that's what works best. Well, I didn't listen to them, so I got a 13-pound spring, and it cycled really well because the first time I took it out with the regular 18-pound Glock spring, it would fire a couple rounds and then it'd stovepipe or it would fail to feed or something like that because the slide wasn't getting all the way to the back. So I went with a 13-pound spring from a local guy here in town, but then it would fail to go into battery, which was kind of a pain in the butt. So I ended up going with the suggested 15-pound recoil spring, which you see here, compared to the standard Glock one. And you can see the difference there. One's dual captive and the other is single captive. And now I don't have hardly any problems at all. I do occasionally get a light primer strike, and I'm still trying to decide if that is because my striker spring is too strong for the recoil spring, or if it is simply a case of hard primers. I know that the Winchester white box stuff is known for their hard primers. That's the inside, and kind of a closer up look at the outside. Now we can jump back to usual and I can give you my final opinion on the thing. So guys, here we are, back where we started. And I have a question. What do you guys think? I mean, is $680, $700 too much to ask for something like this Grey Ghost Precision V1 slide? Personally, I think with the price of custom Glock slide milling and everything that goes on in the market today, $700 for all internals and a pretty high quality match grade barrel that's threaded, it's hard to beat for value, especially since there's no waiting around for the most part if you can find someone local to you that has them in stock. That being said, if I could do it all again, I might buy the stripped version and put all the internals in myself. That way I wouldn't have to deal with winding up with an extra match grade barrel laying around that I can't really use. Overall, I would say this is a solid 7.5 out of 10 product. The things that it loses points with me for are definitely how quickly this nitrided finish has worn, and probably the barrel. Not that either is really that big of a deal, but when you put them together, this makes this a 7.5 out of 10, a 75% product. For me, anything that is above 50% is probably worth buying. So 75 is pretty dang high. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and tell me down below if you would buy the Grey Ghost Precision's V1 slide. Oh hey guys, post-production Mitch here, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to my very first video on this YouTube channel. And if you thought the video was awesome, leave a like and subscription. That way I know that you want more videos exactly like this one. Hey man,
what are you doing? We got work to do.
Sorry, man. My bad.
Sheesh, come on.
That guy's right. I should probably get back to it. Thanks again for tuning in.